How to fix Valorant low FPS and stuttering on Ryzen 5 5600 RX 7600. Welcome back to Tenabalta, where we dissect complex hardware challenges to unlock peak performance. Today, we confront a prevalent and deeply frustrating issue affecting many modern gaming setups: inexplicable low FPS and inconsistent frame rates in Valorant, specifically on systems featuring the powerful AMD Ryzen 5 5600 processor paired with an AMD Radeon RX 7600 graphics card. Despite possessing robust, current-generation components, users frequently encounter perplexing symptoms such as severe frame drops during intense engagements, overall system stuttering, disproportionately low GPU utilization, and unexpectedly high CPU loads. This comprehensive, deep-dive technical guide is engineered to meticulously analyze the intricate, multifactorial causes behind these performance anomalies and furnish a rigorous suite of advanced, actionable solutions, with a paramount emphasis on the often underestimated, yet profoundly transformative process of updating your motherboard's BIOS to meticulously optimize and unleash your system's latent potential for a superior Valorant experience. 1. Update motherboard BIOS to the latest version. A foundational step for resolving pervasive performance bottlenecks is ensuring your motherboard's BIOS is fully up to date, as newer revisions frequently integrate crucial AMD AGESA microcode updates for enhanced CPU stability, optimized memory compatibility, and refined communication protocols with modern GPUs like the RX 7600. For an MSI B550M Pro VDH, download the latest stable BIOS from the official MSI support page, typically requiring a FAT32 formatted USB drive for the M-Flash utility. However, direct disk methods are possible, but demand extreme caution due to the critical nature of firmware flashing. This critical firmware update significantly refines system-level communication and resource arbitration, ensuring optimal hardware interaction and directly impacting game performance and overall system responsiveness. 2. Optimize background applications and services. Aggressive background processes critically consume valuable CPU cycles and RAM, directly diminishing available system resources for Valorant, which manifests as noticeable FPS drops and micro-stutters, particularly in CPU-bound scenarios. Thoroughly review your task manager for non-essential applications such as game launchers, hardware monitoring tools, or proprietary RGB software, e.g., MSI Center SteelSeries, GG Translucent TB, ensuring they are closed or meticulously configured to prevent automatic launch at startup. Minimizing this systemic overhead guarantees that your Ryzen 5 5600 can dedicate maximum processing power to Valorant's demanding engine, thereby improving frame times and overall gameplay fluidity. 3. Perform a clean GPU driver reinstallation using the corrupted or improperly installed graphics drivers are a notorious source of performance instability, leading to symptoms such as low GPU utilization, erratic frame rates, visual artifacts, and even application crashes despite robust hardware. Utilize Display Driver Uninstaller, in Windows Safe Mode, to meticulously remove all previous AMD Adrenalin driver traces, followed by a pristine installation of the latest WHQL-certified drivers directly from AMD's official website, specifically tailored for your RX 7600. This ensures a clean driver environment, eliminating lingering conflicts, and optimizing the RX 7600 crucial interaction with Valorant's rendering pipeline. 4. Verify and configure XMP/dock memory profile, ensuring your DDR4 RAM operates at its advertised speeds and timings via the BIOS XMP Extreme Memory Profile or DOCP DRAM Overclocking Profile. is paramount for AMD Ryzen processors, which exhibit significant performance scaling with faster memory for intercore communication and overall system throughput. Access your motherboard's BIOS/UEFI interface to confirm XMP/DOCP is correctly enabled and applying the manufacturer's specified frequency and timings for your 16x2 RAM kit, as disabled or misconfigured profiles will force RAM to default JEDEC speeds, severely bottlenecking CPU performance in memory-intensive titles like Valorant. It is critically important to re-enable XMP/DOCP after any BIOS update, as the update process typically resets these settings to their defaults. 5. Adjust in-game graphics settings for competitive advantage, even when initially set too low. Granular optimization within Valorant's graphics menu can still yield crucial performance gains, particularly by disabling resource-intensive visual effects that offer minimal competitive advantage. Prioritize settings such as material quality, texture quality, detail quality, and UI quality, ensuring they are at their absolute minimum values, and critically consider disabling VSync and anti-aliasing if input lag is a concern. These refined adjustments free up valuable GPU resources, providing a more consistent and higher average frame rate while mitigating unexpected drops during crucial competitive engagements. 6. Enforce true full-screen display mode for exclusive control. Operating Valorant in windowed full-screen, or borderless windowed mode, inherently introduces an additional layer of processing overhead, as Windows Desktop Window Manager (DWM) continues to render the desktop environment in the background. Switching exclusively to true full-screen, often simply labeled full screen, grants the game direct and exclusive control over the display output, bypassing the DWM entirely, thereby significantly reducing input latency and often improving raw FPS stability. This exclusive mode ensures maximal GPU dedication to the game's rendering pipeline, minimizing extraneous resource contention and delivering a more responsive experience. 7. Configure Windows graphics performance for Valorant. Windows' native graphics settings provide a granular control mechanism to explicitly allocate a dedicated GPU to specific applications, ensuring that high-performance discrete hardware is prioritized over any integrated graphics or default power-saving modes. Navigate to Settings, then System, then Display, then Graphics Settings, then add Valorant's primary executable, Valorant Win 64 shipping exe typically found within the game installation directory, and meticulously set its graphics preference to high performance. This crucial configuration actively prevents the operating system from inadvertently throttling GPU performance or assigning it a lower processing priority during active gameplay. 8. Manage CPU automatic overclocking, PBO/boost settings. While AMD's Precision Boost Overdrive, PBO, and similar CPU auto-overclocking features are designed to intelligently boost processor performance, excessively aggressive settings coupled with inadequate cooling or power delivery can lead to rapid thermal throttling. This throttling instantaneously reduces effective CPU clock speeds and causes severe FPS inconsistencies. Rigorously monitor CPU temperatures and power draw using tools like HYNFO64. If temperatures consistently exceed 80 C or power limits are frequently saturated, consider fine-tuning PBO limits in BIOS or temporarily disabling it to ensure stable, sustained clock speeds without triggering thermal or power-related performance degradation. 9. Assess and address SSD health and performance. An M.2 NVMe SSD exhibiting sustained read/write speeds as drastically low as 30 MB/s, coupled with a reported health status of 40%, represents a critical hardware failure point that profoundly impacts game loading times, asset streaming, and overall system responsiveness. Utilize specialized diagnostic tools like Crystal Disk Info or Crystal Disk Mark to meticulously verify health attributes and benchmark actual performance. A severely failing SSD can instigate persistent stutters and prolonged loading sequences, even in fast-paced FPS games, as crucial game assets are constantly accessed from storage. Immediate replacement of such a degraded storage device is unequivocally recommended to restore optimal system function and eliminate severe I/O bottlenecks. 10. Enable Windows Game Mode for system optimization. Windows Game Mode is an integral operating system feature meticulously engineered to optimize your PC specifically for gaming by intelligently prioritizing system resources, temporarily suspending background updates, and disabling non-essential notifications. Access settings, then gaming, then game mode within Windows, and ensure this critical feature is toggled on to activate its performance-enhancing protocols. This function effectively minimizes interruptions and resource contention from extraneous background Windows processes, thereby allowing your system to dedicate maximum computational power and memory bandwidth directly to Valorant. 11. Set Windows Power Plan to high performance. The default balanced power plan in Windows can inadvertently lead to CPU and GPU throttling during demanding gaming sessions in an effort to conserve energy, thereby critically hindering maximum hardware performance. Navigate to Control Panel, then Hardware and Sound, then Power Options, then explicitly select High Performance, or create a custom power plan with equivalent settings to ensure your CPU and GPU consistently operate at their maximum allowable frequencies and power states. This crucial adjustment eliminates potential performance caps imposed by energy-saving algorithms, guaranteeing a consistent and ample power supply for optimal hardware utilization. 12. Manage FPS cap/VSync and adaptive sync technologies. While capping in-game FPS at your monitor's native refresh rate, e.g. 180 Hz, can effectively reduce visual artifacts like screen tearing and stabilize frame times. Highly competitive players often prefer uncapped FPS to minimize perceived input latency. If you experience screen tearing with uncapped frames, consider enabling adaptive sync technologies, AMD FreeSync/NVIDIA G-Sync, on your compatible monitor and within your AMD Adrenalin settings, which dynamically synchronizes your RX 7600 frame output with the display's refresh rate. This advanced synchronization offers the optimal balance of smooth, tear-free visuals without incurring the input lag penalty associated with traditional VSync. 13. Troubleshoot and reinstall AMD Adrenalin software. The reported inability to access AMD Adrenalin via right-click on the desktop, coupled with issues concerning its in-game overlay, Alt+R, strongly indicates a potentially corrupted, partially installed, or misconfigured Adrenalin software suite, thereby hindering optimal GPU management and feature utilization. A meticulous clean reinstallation, rigorously following the method outlined in Solution 3, is imperative to restore full Adrenalin functionality, ensuring you can properly configure game profiles, activate performance-enhancing features like Radeon anti-lag, or access critical performance monitoring tools. A fully functional Adrenalin driver stack is indispensable for extracting the peak performance from your RX 7600. 14. Perform System File Checker, SFC, and DISM scans. Corrupted Windows system files can subtly but profoundly manifest as broad performance issues, affecting game stability, resource management, and overall system responsiveness. Even if less demanding narrative-driven games appear unaffected, execute SFC/scano in an elevated command prompt to rigorously identify and repair any corrupted or missing system files, subsequently followed by dism/online/cleanupimage/restore health to ensure the Windows component store is fully healthy and functional. These powerful command line utilities can resolve underlying operating system integrity issues that silently degrade system performance in demanding applications like Valorant. 15. Reinstall Valorant with a clean installation. As a comprehensive and definitive last resort, a complete reinstallation of Valorant can effectively resolve deeply embedded game file corruptions, misconfigured local settings, or persistent remnants of previous game updates that might be instigating performance anomalies. Ensure you meticulously uninstall Valorant through Windows apps and features. Manually delete any residual game directories, e.g., Riot Games /Valorant, and then proceed to redownload and install the game client from Riot's official website. This guarantees a pristine game environment, purged from legacy issues that could be detrimentally affecting frame rates and overall stability. 16. Enable AMD Smart Access Memory, SAM/resizable BAR, for optimal synergy between AMD Ryzen 5000 series CPUs and Radeon RX 6000/7000 series GPUs. Enabling Smart Access Memory, SAM, which leverages the PCI Express standard's resizable BAR feature, can unlock significant performance gains. This technology allows the CPU full, direct access to the GPU's entire video memory buffer, drastically improving data transfer efficiency. Navigate to your motherboard's BIOS/UEFI settings, typically within advanced or PCIe options. Locate above 4G decoding and resizable BAR support, and explicitly enable both to optimize this critical data pathway. 17. Update chipset drivers to the latest version. The chipset drivers are unequivocally vital for establishing efficient and stable communication between your Ryzen 5 5600 processor, the motherboard's intricate components, and all connected peripherals, directly impacting overall system stability and performance. Download and install the absolute latest chipset drivers, specifically tailored for your MSI B550M ProVDH motherboard, from AMD's official support website. Updated chipset drivers can rigorously resolve compatibility issues, enhance power management protocols, and optimize critical data transfer rates across the entire system, fundamentally contributing to significantly smoother and more responsive gameplay. 18. Monitor CPU and GPU usage and power draw. Inconsistent or disproportionately low CPU and GPU utilization, particularly an RX 7600 drawing only 50 W, is a definitive indicator of a bottleneck existing elsewhere in the system, preventing the components from achieving their full potential. Utilize robust monitoring tools like MSI Afterburner, integrated with Riva Tuner Statistics Server, or HYNFO64 to meticulously track core frequencies, temperatures, utilization percentages, and power draw for both your Ryzen 5 5600 and RX 7600 during active gameplay sessions. Accurately identifying which specific component is underutilized or consistently hitting its thermal or power limits is paramount for pinpointing the exact root cause of debilitating low FPS. 19. Clear shader caches for optimal rendering. Corrupted or excessively bloated shader caches can be a direct cause of debilitating micro-stutters, texture pop-in, and loading hitches, as the graphics card struggles to process outdated or malformed shader data. Periodically clearing both the AMD shader cache via the Adrenalin software, gaming, then graphics, then advanced, then reset shader cache, and any game-specific internal cache files can significantly alleviate these performance impediments. This process forces the system to regenerate fresh, optimized shaders tailored to your current driver and game version, often resulting in substantially smoother frame delivery and reduced in-game hitches. 20. Disable in-game overlays and Windows Game Bar. Multiple concurrently active in-game overlays originating from platforms like Steam, Epic Games, Discord, or even the integrated Windows Xbox Game Bar can regrettably introduce significant performance overhead, consume valuable system resources, and occasionally cause critical software conflicts that culminate in severe FPS drops. Access the respective settings of each application and meticulously disable their in-game overlay features. Concurrently, proactively deactivate the Windows Xbox Game Bar functionality via Settings, then Gaming, then Xbox Game Bar to ensure no background capture, social integration, or notification features interfere with Valorant's critical rendering pipeline and overall performance. By systematically applying these advanced technical optimizations, with particular emphasis on the foundational and profoundly impactful BIOS update, you can rigorously enhance your Ryzen 5 5600 and RX 7600 systems' performance in Valorant, meticulously transforming a previously frustrating experience into a decisive competitive advantage. Don't forget to follow Tenabalta for more in-depth technical guides, cutting-edge hardware analysis, and expertly crafted performance optimization strategies designed to elevate your gaming experience.